KJ here with the Urban Fruit Forest. We got John over here with Triumphant Gardens. Today we'll be talking to you guys about how to graft your mango tree. So for those of you who don't know what grafting is pretty much taking a seedling from a mango, planting it is going to sprout up. What you have sprouted is not the same mango that you ate. The genetics are completely different. So when you're grafting, you're going to pretty much make a clone of a mango tree you already have, or that you've tasted before, or that you just want. You see back here, we got a lot of big mango trees. We found some scions. John found them over at his spot. He found some scions. He'll be talking to you guys about what those scions are. We collect those scions, looks just like this, and then we'll be grafting them onto these rootstocks. Here are a few of the things that you'll be needing. You got it, John.
Thanks, KJ. So just got a simple pair of pruning shears. I got some rubbing alcohol to kind of sanitize my equipment with. That's always a safe thing to do in case you have any diseases or transference of any kind of bacteria from one plant or cutting to another. You want to avoid that, so dribble a little bit of that rubbing alcohol in there. And this stuff is really cool. This is a waxy tape we use for binding the scion, the cutting, to the rootstock. It's called parafilm, and we'll be sure to put the link for this down in the description. But as you can see, it's take a set length like this, and it's very stretchy like that. And that's what it does is it wraps your, as you can see from right here, you wrap your scion in it. It keeps all the moisture locked into your scion because you don't want your cuttings to dry out. That's the goal, to preserve and keep the moisture inside. But it's gentle enough material that when the new growth comes, if your union is set, like if the scion does take to the rootstock, they bind it together and heal together, you'll see new growth start to form. It'll easily push through that parafilm tape. So that's why I use this. Of course, you can use tape to complete the graft and then put a plastic baggie over it. You don't have to have this, but this has been a helpful tool that we use often. And then to seal even more, further tightly join the scion to the rootstock, I like to use zip ties. That's these. They're very cheap, couple bucks. And I just kind of pull those. You can also use green nursery tape. You don't, again, you don't have to have these things, but these are just the things that we use and have great success with. And then of course, I choose to use a razor blade. You can use a box cutter, whatever form. You can use this by yourself.
I like those because you can replace the blades when they get dull. Yep.
Some people use just a plain razor blade and slice. Obviously, you want to be very careful so that you can suffer serious injury by doing it that way. But that's it. Those are your materials you're going to need.
Okay, so now we're about to go in.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to take my scion and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it like you see it loose in my hand before I attach it to the rootstock. The reason for that is just a lot easier to manage. Instead of putting this in the rootstock and then trying to wrap it all, that's a lot of wrapping. You might bump the scion, it might become misaligned. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it now, join it to the rootstock, then tape just the cut where it's cut. Okay, so here we go. So I'll take my parafilm, I'm gonna stretch it like that, nice and wide. And I don't want to lose those. You want to cut scions to graft that have those buds that are swollen like so. That's what you want to have before you graft.
That means scion has a lot of energy. It's ready to push.
Yep.
It helps a lot.
So I'm stretching it. Oh. Let's get another piece. Now that we got our scion wrapped like that, we're gonna kind of put that over to the side. We take our rootstock. What you want to do is you want to match up the sizes, the thickness, to the thickness of the rootstock. So it needs to match like this. Okay, so here it wouldn't work because the scion is too thick, this is too thin, so we're going to go down about right there. So you just want them to be the same width wherever you attach it. So I'm going to go ahead and take the top off of this, about right there, put that away, and this is how I always do it here. I just kind of do it like that and measure up. My cut, if I mess up, I go further down the plant, it's going to get thicker. So I leave up myself a little room for error that way. All right, that's still a little too thin. Cut a little bit more off. Check that. Perfect. So now I'm going to cut a little bit of this off, like so. Looks good. So now I'm going to shave a little bit off both sides of this so it comes to a point. And then what I'm going to do is make a tiny slit down the middle, right down the middle. This is called cleft grafting. There's a number of ways you can graft onto a rootstock, but we're choosing something called cleft grafting today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start cutting, and then I'll show you the finished product when I'm done, what that should look like. And if you wanted to, you can cut right over that parafilm. I like to move it out of the way, but you don't have to. But if you notice, it'll just shave right off as you cut with the razor. Here we go. So I'm gonna start from the bottom, and then I'm gonna shave back like this, okay? As you can see, I'm making a sawing motion like this. You don't wanna go straight down. And you want your cuts to be flat. You don't want any, when you look at it from the side, you don't want any bumps in it because you won't get a good union that way. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna flip it over to the exact opposite side and do the same thing. Sawing motion, no bumps if we can help it. Sometimes you cut too much off and you just gotta keep working your way up the scion there.
So you leave extra space. You don't have to wrap the entire scion with any parafilm.
A little bit more. Let's get up on that side. I'm barely pushing down. It's almost like shaping wood, like woodworkers using a plane.
Yeah, it's coming out nice.
Take your time. What do you think?
That looks good.
Is that about good?
That looks good.
Like a nice sharp. All right, so I've got my scion prepared, fully prepared, shaved down to nice fine point. We may have to shave more off to make it finer here, but if you have to do that, that's totally okay. And also, I didn't mention, you want a nice flat. So if there's a uneven down here, I just kind of clip that, make sure it's nice and flat like that for a good fit. So right now, what we're gonna do is I'm going to put my razor like this, right in the middle, and I'm gonna go down just past the top of the razor blade. That's as deep as I wanna go. I don't wanna go too much farther than that. And we'll join the scion to that. Again, you wanna be very careful. And I grab the blade like this, one hand over here, so that my hands are not under the blade, because then you're just kind of asking for it. And I just kind of wiggle it. Wait for it to start to kind of slip a bit. There it goes. Catch it. I'm going just to the top of that razor blade. One thing you can do too, if you're not sure how far to cut down, is take your scion and just kind of measure it, the length, see how it compares to the length of the cut. I think that's gonna be good.
That looks good.
Okay.
Yep.
So all we're gonna do is kind of put that inside there. And I'm pinching this while I'm pushing this down, because the cut can actually widen or deepen just by forcing this in there. Your rootstock can split down even further. We want to stop that from happening.
I've been there before.
Okay, we want to match up these sides. We want these sides to match up. So here's a good illustration. So like that's good, that's not good, or anything off like that. You want it lined up straight in there. We want to line up those cambium layers to enhance the likeliness that this thing will take. Together right there where I'm pinching with my two fingers, we're squeeze that together as much as we can. So when we go to tie this off, we're gonna start here and add more zip ties going up because we want to really, like we're pulling up a zipper. All right, let me check this other side. It's a little off, but you know what? You get the point, that's okay. So you want it to look like that. And we'll do a frontal kind of capture. You just want it straight up and down. And you really want a good seal right there. That's what we're gonna wrap, okay? So I'm gonna leave that there. Here, get your parafilm out. Just rip off a piece, okay? What I do is, I'm gonna start down here. A buddy of mine showed me this trick where you kind of hold it in place, hold this, don't touch this because you're gonna jerk it around and it's gonna get off disaligned. You don't wanna mess that up. So I'm gonna wrap. I'm just gonna hold onto this and just go around and around and around, and it's gonna twist. I want a nice thread of parafilm. Starting from the bottom, and I'm still pinching right here. I'm still pinching the rootstock together. And this isn't as tight as I'm gonna get it. That's where the zip ties come in, but this is really just a placeholder. It's just to kind of keep our place, to keep that scion from moving. We don't want it to move at all. So I'm gonna pinch and pull that. Oops, let me just grab another piece, a longer one. I'll start that off there. I love that this is self-adhering too. It sticks to itself. So I'm pinching now, stretching it. I'm just gonna twist. Just gonna go round and around. I'm gonna go up a little bit. And I do like shorter scions like this. You know, I'm not having to reach up and over. I can just go around it pretty quick. Stretching out a little bit. And then just pull that off there. Uh-oh. Need one more piece. Go a little higher. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be covered.
You just need to keep that moisture in there.
Yep. See, and I can stop. Nope. Let's go a little bit ways up there, but like I said, I don't want to move that scion too much. And watch this. You just kind of push that down like that. Now, so I've got my loops. Let's go down over. Careful not to bump those swelling buds. I'm gonna start from the bottom of the cut. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 in that order. You ready? And all I'm gonna do is snug it up. That's all I wanna do. I'm gonna go right on top of that other one. Again, you don't have to use zip ties, but this is just, I'm usually short on time, a bunch of kids. Seals the deal quickly.
Quick.
Yep. And you know it's a good grip. You know that it's really squeezing that rootstock to that cutting you just inserted.
And this works for a large variety of fruit trees, not just mangoes. So if you have avocados that you want to graft, it'll work with that.
And you want to go green to green. That's a trick that I learned. So see, it's brown down here, that's woody. If it were brown up here, you don't want to graft into that. You want to take a young green cutting and graft into a green stem, a green branch like that, or rootstock. When you're done, just take these, gently cut these off. And when you're done, probably is going to take about, I don't know, what would you say, a couple weeks to a month?
Depends, yeah.
Till you start seeing some action. And when I'm talking about action, you see if it doesn't take, you'll see it turn brown and kind of wither back. If it does start to take or do well, if it's healthy enough, you'll see it start to push out. Those buds will swell up and puncture through that parafilm. And then the next one will be, yeah, like right here. You see this one's a success. We'll wait and see. I like to wait 2 flushes. That means it's growing to this point. When it stops growing and then grows again, you'll see that little flush. They look like this, like from here to here is a flush. I wait 2 flushes, then I know it's a success. All right, guys, thanks for watching.
Appreciate it.